Begin tonight's meeting with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You can if you want.
No, we wouldn't want that.
My windscreen.
Tonight's meeting will be beginning with a public hearing to consider proposed local law to change the zoning district of property located at 48 Salina Street, which people don't know what that is. It's the old VFW property, from its current designation of R1 zoning district to the B1 business zoning district. Reading of proof of publication.
Notice is hereby given that pursuant to Section 7-706 of the Village Law of the State of New York and pursuant to resolution of the Village Board of the Village of Ballsville adopted September 19th, 2024, a public hearing will be held by the Village Board of the Village of Ballsville at Village Hall, 16 West Tennessee Street, Ballsville, New York, 13027, on the 17th day of October, 2024 at 7:30 p.m. to consider a proposed local law to change the zoning district of property located at 48 Salina Street, tax map parcel 008.01-01.0 from its current designation of R-1 residential zoning district to the B-1 business zoning district. A copy of the proposed local law may be examined by any interested party at the office of the village clerk. At that time, place of hearing, all interested parties will be given an opportunity to be heard by order of the Village Board of the Village of Ballsville, dated September 23rd, 2024.
Thank you. Is anybody wishing to speak in favor of the proposal? Will you come forward, give us your name and who you represent?
Ben Harrell with CHA Consulting here on behalf of the owner/developer. So I know we talked during the workshop about a couple different options, and we've looked into the use variance. The issue with that is if in 30, 40 years the bocce club needs to upsize or no longer is in business, the property is effectively valueless. Because the use variance is only for that bocce club, it's very specific, not including all of the additional costs. For a use variance, because you have to go through all of the allowed uses and say financially why they're not feasible, and you need an expert witness for that. And then, so ultimately our goal is the covenants. We were calling them deed restrictions at first. If it needs to be covenants between the village and the property, we have no issue with that. And with those, we'd eliminate all the uses that the village doesn't want in there, like retail. We don't want a Dollar General in there. The people that are buying this are local people. They don't want to see that in their community either, or tattoo shops, issues like that. So
consider it, everybody, it's a residential area. Right now there's a few houses, but the land around it quite likely is going to be residential in the future. So do you want a smoke shop there? Do you want a laundromat there? What do you, I mean, the kinds of things, that's what we were trying to figure out when you mentioned covenants.
exactly, we don't want those things. We want to be able to prevent them from ever coming in. But ultimately the B1 zoning is the only way currently, or the least restricted, or the most restrictive, I should say, zoning that would allow the recreation use. So that's why we've requested it with those covenants to stop the allowed uses that are undesirable in the location. And then the recreation district, I think, would ultimately, I mean, that's going to be several months to create a zoning district, and then what is actually in there if that still provides any value to the property afterwards. And it's a major concern because Tony Falso from Allstate is also a partner in this. So as an insurance brain, you're always thinking what could happen. So that's just my comments.
Okay. Does anyone else want to speak in favor of the zone change? Anyone wish to speak against the proposal?
I am all for a bocce court.
But
Sally.
Oh, sorry,
State your
Sally.
name and
I live on
where you
Mechanic.
Thank you.
I'm all for a bocce court, but saying recreational could be any number of things. Things that are open late at night, things that attract,
Okay, this is proposed at B1.
Right, I'm
Changing
saying,
B1.
I'm against it because there's a lot of things that are B1 that would not be conducive to a residential neighborhood.
Okay.
But I like a
I'm
bocce.
clear on that.
Does anyone else wish to speak either for or against? Seeing no one jumping up, could I have a motion to adjourn and close the public hearing?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, we're going to move into another public hearing to consider a proposed local law change the provisions of Article 31 of the Code of the Village of Ballsville to modify the definition of unsafe buildings to include vacant or abandoned buildings which are not secure. Once again, could I have a reading of the proof of publication?
Notice of public hearing is hereby given that pursuant to Section 7-706 of the Village Law of the State of New York and pursuant to resolution of the Village Board of the Village of Ballsville adopted October 3rd, 2024, a public hearing will be held by the Village Board of the Village of Ballsville at the Village Hall, 16 West Tennessee Street, Ballsville, New York, 13027, on the 17th day of October 2024 at 7:35 p.m. To consider a proposed local law to amend sections of Article 31 of the Village Code to expand the definition of unsecure buildings to include buildings that are vacant or abandoned and not properly secured. A copy of the proposed local law may be examined by any interested party at the office of the village clerk. At the time and place of the hearing, all interested persons will be given an opportunity to be heard by order of the Village Board of the Village of Ballsville dated October 3rd, 2024.
Thank you. Once again, is there anyone in the audience interested in speaking in favor of the proposal? Is anyone interested in speaking against the proposal? Seeing no one, could I have a motion to adjourn the public hearing?
Moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. So now we're going to go into the regular meeting of the Village Board. Could I have a motion to approve the Village Board meeting minutes from October 3rd, 2024?
Motion. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? No, the green looked like some kind of weird asparagus. Okay, so that was approved. Public comment. Is there anybody? Ben, please don't leave. Because this is going to come up on the agenda in case there's any questions thrown your way. Okay, thank you. Where we're public comment, is there anybody wishing to make a public comment?
I'm going first.
Okay.
Mary Ann Williams, Greater Baldwinsville Chamber of Commerce. Want to remind everyone that we're having GBCC Trick or Treat on Saturday, October 26th, 2 to 4 p.m. Rain or shine, but we're hoping for shine. Any business or group can participate, but if you want to be on the map that we publish, I will need that information by noon on Thursday, October 24th. You would just send an email to baldwinsvillechamber@gmail.com. Excuse me. The map will be posted on our Facebook page. It will be posted on our website. Trick-or-treaters do not need to register. They just need to don their costumes and come out and have a good time. And right now we've already got about 30 participants, so they're going to get a good haul of candy. And once again, I invite the police department and the village government to participate. Your soon-to-be next-door neighbors at the Ward Law Firm will be handing out candy at their location.
Marianne, could you forward that to Jody so she could get up on the village website, your map?
Oh, the map, okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
where people can go and have a good time.
What was that date again?
October 26th. So we're doing it in the afternoon after the window painting is in the morning.
I would do it. Yeah.
Well, if you're gonna do that, you have to register.
Ruth and I are gonna commit to Village Hall,
Okay,
Village.
thank you.
so
If anybody has a
we
pen,
can-
write it down.
we can go on and register.
Yes.
No, we don't have to. We don't have to.
You know you want to.
So,
Is there anyone else who would like to address the board?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mrs. I haven't been here in a while. I'm here, Jim Dale, 70 Oswego Street, representing Baldwinsville Center for the Arts First, but I do have some other public comments as a citizen. First of all, I'd like to let the board know that the board for the Baldwinsville Center for the Arts is still compiling the data from Paper Mill Island, and we will have those numbers finalized and deliverable to you sometime after the 1st of November. We want to make sure that we had a complete understanding of all the events that happened over the course of the summer and where we ended up landing at the end. Secondly to that, I want to report on Ghost Walk and Ghouls Night, both very successful for the Baldwinsville Center for the Arts. This was our 6th annual event. We brought in 1,123 ticket holders into the village over the course of 3 nights, the majority of them on the Friday and the Saturday. I have spoken to some local business and chamber members who have told me that they saw that impact on their restaurants and bars. All in all, a successful event and successful impact for the community. Moving on from that, Jim Dale, 70 Oswego Street.
Sit down, get up.
Yeah, I was going to say, should I stand up and sit down? I had a couple of just questions for the board. I had recently had some guests at the Baldwinsville B&B who were Micron execs closing on their homes in Whispering Oaks. So they had some questions for me, and I thought I'd extend them to you since I didn't really have answers, but I was hoping to. So first on the list, and I think there's 3 or 4 of them, was does the village board and have you made any preliminary plans to form a committee to discuss the impact of Micron on the village? Anecdotally, the exec that was with me had said that he's got a lot of interest in other people who are moving to the community and like to settle into the greater Baldwinsville area. But they're concerned, like anybody else, that ultimately there'll be 14,000 jobs and who knows how many homes being built outside the village. And all that traffic ultimately will end up here. So that's my first question. Anybody can address that. Do we have any preliminary
There's a Route 31 corridor study going on, and there's a major committee sitting on that, dealing specifically with Micron impacts from Cicero to Baldwinsville.
and the village is involved in that?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you for that, Bruce. I can extend that to you.
County planning is deeply involved.
Sure.
And yes, the town supervisor, Lysander, and I are both involved in that.
That's good.
Ryan McMahon is very much involved with his housing proposals and stuff to address it. And once again, that circles back to us. Baldwinsville is a key player in the whole thing.
I should hope so.
Is there a citizens advisory committee? Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Well, in addition to that, one of the other questions that they had was generally, does the village government have a committee in place to discuss that long-term future impact on business and residences? And obviously you've already partly addressed that, but I'd like to be able to tell somebody something about that. Yeah.
I would say that's why, one, that's our planning board.
Planning board.
This body. There's not a specific committee of volunteers at this point. There's so many irons in the fire. I didn't mention the local waterfront revitalization program that is also out there and will involve citizens and business owners. All these things are all going, I swear I'm in meetings more than I'm anything else.
Well, it's a big deal, right? Yeah.
So yes and no.
Yes and no. Okay. Moving on from that subject for a second, I had a question about whether or not the trustees had looked into any of the funding. Have any plans been developed to then access monies from the infrastructure bill. There was an entire section in the infrastructure bill, as some of you know because I've discussed it with you before, about undergrounding and the movement to make sure that power lines, utilities are secure, they're underground. It's part of a national movement, and some communities have already taken advantage of that money. I know that one of the hold-ups for us was that there was not a development plan in place, and we had talked about it a while.
And it all involves the Micron stuff.
Well, this wouldn't involve the Micron.
It would because it's on state roads.
Okay. Well,
Every direction you go are state roads,
okay.
and they're all being impacted by that.
Okay. So is the status quo on the undergrounding for the rest of the community at the moment? Is that my understanding?
Yeah.
Well, you're talking about the business district there.
Not only business district, the whole community. One of the things that the exec had mentioned to me was he came from a community where all the utilities were underground, and so at the last power outage that happened because of some winter storm, they were unaffected basically because
It was in Kansas.
right where the tornadoes come through. But in any case, that was a major concern, and it was on my mind, so I'll make sure I brought that up. There's also one last question, Bruce, and I know you had mentioned you had a grant writer in place looking for funding for the water tower in the town of Van Buren, on the Van Buren side of the village. Are we making any progress with that?
Budget time's coming up.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say at this point.
Okay.
We have proposals in front of us that when this body sits down to discuss budgeting.
Is that because we've secured the grant, or that
No, that's because of estimates from engineering companies of what you would need to go forward to begin the process that includes the grants.
I see. Okay.
The other grant writer couldn't go forward because it did not have the materials provided that she needed on that specific.
Oh, on that specific thing. So there's a grant writer in place seeking other funding?
There's a grant writer in place that I don't know if Chuck's contact, I've been in touch with her. Don't know what she's on at this particular moment. Every time I come up with something, I shoot it off to her.
Okay.
For example, there's some weird grant about railroad crossings that I'd love to see Anaya Street addressed, particularly because the sidewalk goes and stops.
Right.
You know, with some pedestrian, just good luck.
Yeah,
And then, of course, it'd be nice to have pedestrian gates down along 31
of course.
where the railroad is.
That would be a very good idea. And the last one is very, very brief. It's just a personal anecdote for myself. I've been walking my granddaughter in her stroller, and I've been crossing Genesee Street at the crossing in front of the library. And I noticed, and Meg had mentioned to me before, that the sign that we have there that is a pedestrian crossing safe is off on the sidewalk, and that the reason it's on the sidewalk is that it's been hit by multiple trucks.
Oh, that makes me feel
Okay,
bad.
now that was my call to move it up there because when we had it in the road, it would get run over constantly. And so we put it up to the side because it was always in a shop. So we put it up to the side because when you come out of Virginia Street and turn, you hit it. When you go into well, I don't know why you would hit it, but you do. And any trucks can't make that turn. And that sign got hit more than any of the signs. So we put it up there. It does seem to still help, but hopefully this other
It does not
project-
help, Chuck.
Wow.
I'm out there doing this to get across.
Yeah.
Well, do we have an alternative? I mean,
As soon as that gets in
turn
place,
around?
that will help, yeah. As soon as they do the sign thing.
Yeah.
And supposedly that's supposed to happen this year. That's supposed to happen this year, they're saying, but we'll just have to see.
Well, I'm more concerned about the immediate crossing the street with my granddaughter. It's a pedestrian crossing. If the pedestrian crossing is in the wrong place because the trucks are turning into to go and service Kinney's, I'm assuming, or
Well, even school buses are going through there. The Central makes that turn and hits it. I mean, it's a bad intersection there, it is.
well, then the crossing is in the wrong spot.
Well, you run into the problem too, there's no real curb cut anywhere else for a long distance, so that's partially why it's there.
Yeah, because
Because
it's
it
a
used to be
state.
right in front of the
Right,
library.
because it's a state road.
it needs to be at an intersection. It can't just be like right in front of, it used to be right in front of the library.
Well, as a concerned citizen, I'd say put the sign out in the road and let it get hit as many times as possible, and then we have another issue with traffic control on a major thoroughfare where I can't cross in a pedestrian-friendly village.
And right now, they're all coming up because the plows can't get by with them there. So all the signs that we have out are gonna come up,
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
winter, and the state can't get by their plows.
Yeah, I get that, but it's been an issue, you know.
You know, Jim, I think we need to work on the culture.
Yes.
I think that's the ultimate underlying problem, is that people don't respect pedestrians and crosswalks.
Well, they do when I'm yelling at them in the middle of the street, and I'm going, stop.
And that's a whole different, and I'm not
Yeah.
sure what we can do as a board to.
Well, it was a pretty close call a couple of times, and I don't want to have to deal with that on the major thoroughfare. And that is one of two places to cross. I mean, you have to get all the way down to the, yeah, before
corners.
or the four corners. And that's a long haul if you're walking a 6-month across the road to get to a public park.
Taking a 6 month across that.
Over to the public park, you know, the good long path along the river that we
Yeah,
have.
but that's not the best choice.
Yeah, it is an issue. I just want to make sure that it's clear that I'm going to keep an eye on it because it's dangerous at the bottom line, and even in the winter, you know, once those things are up, it makes it even
Years
worse.
ago, we used to have a PVC thing at some of these crosswalks.
Oh, I know those flags. Yeah.
Got, obviously, the flags would go away, but it also, I think, created a false sense of security by the person holding that flag that they weren't going to get run over.
Yeah, that's why I drag the stroller behind me when I cross the street.
Yeah, the problem is not pedestrians, the problem is drivers and the attitude. And
Yeah.
it's-
Any other signage that we can place anywhere to slow down the traffic?
Flashing lights. I was walking in Canandaigua, the lights are just boom, flashing. Still, they don't stop, so.
Yeah.
People are still hitting the Parkway Bridge.
Yeah, they are, but I don't live on the Parkway.
How much more signage can you put?
Well,
Yeah, I've said this many times before, anecdotally, I lived in New England for 33 years, and in the 90s, they started putting the stanchions up in crosswalks, and people learned, and, you know, they did it, and right now, you know, in like eastern New England, you don't even need a crosswalk, and cars will stop for you. And it's just, it was a cultural transformation, because it wasn't like that when I first got there. Everybody wanted to kill you, but
Sure.
but it's
Well, I am
really
concerned
changed.
because we do have such traffic along that. I mean, I understand it's a state route. We still have people turning their tractor trailers at the four corners trying to get through and getting stuck. But at the end of the day, we can't bill ourselves like I do with my B&B guests and say, hey, it's a safe walking village, except don't cross that street or that corner, because you'll get hit by a maniac's coming down. Any case.
Have you given your concerns to the state also? Because, I mean, this board will do what they can, but the state has a control. And, I mean, and more voices to the state may help also.
Yeah, I'm not actually convinced that that's going to make any difference in the long run. Again, you guys are the elected body. If we need, you know, if we need crisscross stuff, excuse me.
Well, no, you know, I've been doing that. I've been working on that since I first got elected to the board, and you see how far we've got.
Yeah, and extra voices going to the state representatives
Sure.
would help.
Well, I'm happy to call Rachel May and yell at her.
Because the village is talking
You're welcome
talk
to
to the
it.
state and explain to them the problems, and,
Yeah.
you know, unfortunately, we had a death, you know.
Yeah,
recently.
exactly.
Yeah, and that should have been enough to get everybody
That should have, yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
riled up.
Sure. I don't want
I did
another
pass
collection
around
of
Senator's
teddy
office.
bears at that intersection. I don't think that's the solution there.
No, certainly not, certainly not.
All right, in any case, that's all I got for now.
That's good. Right there, 3 minutes are up.
Yeah.
Stay there, right? Yeah, okay.
Vicki Fryler, 15 Charlotte Street. The young man who's our camera operator, what's your name?
Jonah.
Jonah. So 2 or 3 meetings ago when we were talking about pedestrian safety and the young girl who lost her life, he had a great idea. He's obviously got the camera, I'm assuming video editing skills. He had a great idea about creating a video around changing the culture for the drivers. And I think that's a wonderful idea. We could start a PSA campaign, get it on social media, and just start to change the attitudes a little bit. So I want to commend Jonah for having that idea. Ask for the board to support that and maybe work with him to make that happen. Yes. Tom?
I think with that, I wanted to.
Okay, Jonah?
Yeah, Jonah Hawthorne, 2428 Sourwood Drive. Many of the people in this room recognize me, but if you're tuning in at home, I'm your cameraman. Thank you for being here. I was going to hold off on standing here and proposing this idea until I had met with Brian Hewitt, the station manager at PAC-B TV. But when I went to Ithaca College, I took a class on media literacy, and my final project for that was creating a 1-minute PSA. So I felt as though hearing the concerns about culture, I have a background that could allow me to work with Brian and members of the community to put together maybe a 1-minute video. You could put it at the start of concerts or non-for-profit events, and it could target not just kids who are starting to learn to drive, but their parents too, since it's an everyone thing, and we could work to come up with a message that is firm but fair, that just kind of reiterates that you gotta, both as a pedestrian, care for yourself, take your headphones out, be aware of your surroundings, but as a driver, slow down, even if you don't see someone, if it's night, if it's raining. So I'll be back after I meet with Brian and really set out the logistics of this. Obviously, if you're making a video, you don't actually want to film at a crosswalk. Want to be too safe, but.
Jonah, I think once you talk to your station manager, one of the things I'd like you to do is to speak to the lieutenant. They do some of that staging of stuff up at the high school. Mm-hmm. They could probably, you're going to want them on scene for the filming and be part of it.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, thank you.
Happy to assist, and then before you go, I'll give you my card.
Sounds good. Okay. Thank you so much. Yep. Thank you guys. Thank you for the kind words, and stay tuned.
Thank you, Jonah.
Thank you, Jonah.
Of course.
You just stand up to me. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board?
So I read an article that said 40% of Micron's startup cost, which I believe was estimated to be 19-point-something billion dollars, was coming from local taxes.
Now, you're in a different world from me.
I'm just, that's a lot of money for people to pay, like the taxpayers to pay. I'm just wondering,
I have no information on that at all, so.
Well, can you
I'd like
find
some
out?
documentation.
What's that?
I'd like some documentation.
It was on Syracuse.com.
40% of 19 billion.
That's what they said. That was a startup cost, because it's a $100 billion project according to the county executive.
And how much
Is it
of
an
that?
outlay of funds?
Yeah, how much of it's in kind?
Or is it simply tax
It
credits?
said 40% of the startup costs will be funded by taxpayers, local taxes. So,
I don't think so.
I don't have that kind of money.
Well, if it's
I'm just saying.
startup, it's already been spent. That's probably land acquisition, stuff like that.
They didn't say, it was a little vague, but as our representatives, I thought maybe you could find out if it's going to affect village taxes.
No, it won't affect village taxes, it'd be your county tax, sales tax. If it's the county that would be putting the money in if it's local, it's not.
Okay, because they weren't clear
It's not in our
as to
budget.
whose taxes. It just said local taxes. It said state and local taxes. So we're local, so I didn't know if we were included in that.
And now you just expanded with state and local, 40% including state.
Well, tax, that's
Yeah, but that changes the,
Do you get my gist?
I understand you don't like to pay taxes, I understand
No,
that,
it's not
but-
that I'm against paying taxes. I'm against paying taxes for multi-billion-dollar companies who are taking resources. I resent that.
Okay,
That's different than paying my taxes.
no, that's your opinion and you're welcome to it, Sally.
It is my opinion.
Yes, and
That's
you're
also
welcome to it.
something-
And now we're gonna move on.
Beyond our
Can I just
remit
say one thing?
as village
Just looking real
trustees.
quick, it's the taxpayers are subsidizing 40% of Micron's phase one. So that would come in the form of, I don't know if it's like
Credits. and-
credits and stuff. So it's not necessarily out of pocket or even in-kind stuff. But I'm glad you brought it up because I'm interested in seeing where this is going to.
Because a subsidy, you know, that's like taxpayer money that could go to other things, like better crossings.
I found the article, if you want me to forward it to anyone.
No, I'm looking at it now.
I found it as well.
Okay, trustees' comments, no, special presentation,
No, there's none.
there is none.
I think Jonah did the special presentation.
Yeah, that was special.
Okay, moving on to trustees' comments.
I'll start.
Thank you.
Jim, I just want to thank you for the Baldwinsville Center of the Arts. I had all my kids, it's rare to get my kids to do an event, and they all enjoyed the Ghost Walk, so thank you for putting that on. All the volunteers that helped out there. Jonah, thank you for bringing that up. Everybody talked about pedestrian safety. We are taking that very serious, and that's something near and dear to my heart, and I appreciate you guys for raising your voices and keep talking about that. And I'll stick to the agenda for the rest.
Moving on to trustee Shepherd.
I will stick to the agenda.
He's reading his article
I can
about
tell.
that.
It's CHIPS money, very similar to what we get. So that makes up 11.3 of the 19 billion that you were talking about.
So it's CHIPS money, so that means that's the Route 31 stuff. It's putting in a new interchange on 81. It's Mud Mill Road. A lot of the infrastructure over there has to be upgraded.
That's all.
Other than that?
Yep.
Okay. So a couple of things on the pedestrian safety. Vicki, thank you for mentioning Jonah, because I was going to mention it, because he and I had a conversation after that board meeting, and I was so impressed with his idea that I talked to Wendy Dryden on the PAC board and let her know that I was very impressed with your initiative. So looking forward to you talking with Brian and getting something started, and like the mayor and the lieutenant said, we'll help in any way we can. One other thing I was thinking of the other day, specific to the intersection here in the center of town. I've been places, and I can't remember where they are, but places where up on with the regular traffic lights, when the pedestrian crossing is lit, there's something up on the arm of all the other red and green traffic lights that indicates that pedestrians are crossing the street. I don't know if that's anything that the state has resources or access to, but I think, because I still see people that, you know, have trouble with that, specifically going from the BG1 corner to the tattoo parlor corner, that it's still an issue, and I do think it's important to address that. So I don't know if in the discussions with Senator May, if she has any ideas about if anything like that would be possible to add to that intersection, because I think that intersection is particularly troublesome when it comes to pedestrian safety.
If you can remember at some point where you saw it.
I'm gonna be looking because I can't remember if it was in New York or if it was somewhere in.
I'm pretty sure it's in New York, man, because I've seen it.
I spent a lot of time in Massachusetts and Connecticut, so I don't know if they're there either, but anyway, I know I've seen them somewhere, so just another idea of something that can help improve that corner in particular, so. Other than that, I think I'll stick to the agenda.
Moving on to Ruth.
I will stick with the agenda.
Okay.
Yep. I mean, outside of the fact that, you know, we got many Halloween theme trick-or-treating going on, and pedestrian safety will be at a paramount with the little kids running all over the place. Let's just make sure we're paying attention to it. So stick with the agenda after that.
Okay, yes, yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that particular crossing, Meg, at, from BG1 to the tattoo parlor, because what happens is cars coming, down East Genesee Street and taking a left there, they take it very quickly, and if you've driven it enough times, you realize you cannot see someone in that crosswalk until it's too late. And
a lot of times they're trying to, because they've had the arrow, they're trying to beat the traffic coming from the other direction before they get up and going, not realizing that they're not up and going because they don't have the green light yet. So,
we discussed that at the last meeting with Senator May, with Eric and Chief Leffencheck, and we talked about, what is the term for when...
Scramble,
thank you. Scramble crossing, when when somebody gets the light to cross, then everybody can cross whatever angle. And, they do that in New York City in spots too, and it's been very successful. And we also talked about preventing people, when somebody has the light to cross, they have the little crossing man, simply to set the light so there's like a red arrow, you can't turn into the crosswalk, when someone is crossing. So, that's actually a fairly simple thing, I think, that state DOT could do, simply, rework those lights that, make it a little bit safer and more enjoyable for pedestrians. But other than that, I'm nothing more to add.
Okay. I actually have a few things. I wanted to mention trick-or-treating is from 6 to 8 on Halloween. If you want children coming to your house, put a light on so they can see. If you don't, keep your lights off. They probably won't come. In any case, as was pointed out, there's going to be little ghosts and goblins out on the street. The ones that go out at 6 o'clock, it'll be light. But after that, it's going to be pitch black. I know our fire department does a great job of driving all around town with lights flashing, but ultimately it's on drivers that these kids are out in the street and can't see anyway because they got masks and stuff all over them. We need to be careful and watch out for the kids. Other thing I want to mention, this is going to be a little dendrology lesson. If you look around the village, most of the leaves are still in the trees. After yesterday, today, the next few days, when it's going to be bright and sunny in the daytime, cool at night, something called the abscission layer is going to form at the base of the leaves, and they're going to start to come down. And hopefully they come down before snowfall, and you'll have an opportunity to get them out to the street so DPW can collect them and dispose of them.
Not in the street.
Not in the street. And if you put them in the street and snow does fall, they'll be coming back because the plows will be working. So, leaves are going to come down, mulch, rake, do whatever you need to do. Time is going to be shorter this year for the window of opportunity to get rid of the leaves once they do change and fall. Trick-or-treaters, we did that. I wanted to mention that there is still an opening for an alternate on our planning board. We're looking for someone who has a planning background, experience with site plan reviews, etc. Perhaps an old DPW superintendent might be interested.
I'll old do they have to be?
60-something.
I'm gonna be home waiting for the leaves to come down.
I also want to remind everybody, in case you haven't been inundated at your home, that Election Day is coming up, and that we're not going to meet again until afterwards, but Election Day is November 5th. Please vote. However you may vote, please vote. Exercising your franchise is the best way of protecting your franchise. And then I also wanted to mention the LWRP. They call it clerk, but I haven't gotten to calling that acronym LRP, the Local Waterfront Revitalization Program. Want to update the community. Currently, the town supervisors and myself will be, and some other members of their boards, will be reviewing the RFPs that were submitted for firms to conduct this process, where they'll be evaluating the riverfronts, they'll be interviewing citizens, they'll be holding sessions for people to come in and share their viewpoint. That's going to happen in the next few weeks. And then there will also be a citizens advisory committee. So if there are people that are interested in participating, the current discussion is trying to figure out the numbers. But that stuff's down the road and coming. And, I don't know what this says. This was a problem when I was at Beaver Lake. I had a secretary who could read my writing and I couldn't. So, and I still can't. I wanted to point out to Jim that I heard compliments for your ghost walk last night from the mayor of Solvay who attended.
Yes, that's right. He was there.
Derek was there.
Yeah.
Derek is always known when Derek's present.
Yes, he made himself known. He actually came over and introduced himself.
Did he? I'm sure.
You know, he was wearing a Solvay City, he was wearing his Solvay pin.
Oh, good for him.
There could be little pins, yeah. He was wearing a Solvay button.
He says he likes to come to Baldwinsville to go out to eat and stuff. Which fine.
Told me the same thing.
Other than that, I'm going to stick to the agenda. No, I'm not.
Bruce?
I have one more thing. I have a proclamation I want to read. It's not on my list. It's, some of you are aware of this, some of you are not. Meg Van Patten, longtime director of the Ballsville Library, is retiring. And so I'm going to make a proclamation with all those whereases. Whereas Meg began her journey in service to others while learning customer service working in her parents' market in the Valley section of Syracuse. And whereas Meg discovered her passion for libraries as a youth volunteering in the libraries of the city of Syracuse. And whereas Meg began her career as a librarian in Syracuse before joining the staff of the Ballsville Library on October 15th, 1978. Whereas Meg has not only been the director of the Ballsville Library since 2013, but also has served the profession as president of the Central New York Library Resources Council. And whereas Meg created the costume character of Raggedy Ann, featured during children's story time, and whereas Meg assisted with the design, fundraising, and implementation of the children's reading area, complete with a replica canal boat, and whereas Meg has immersed herself in the Ballsville community as a board member and past president of both the Ballsville Center for the Arts and the Rotary Club of Baldwinsville, and whereas Meg has championed literacy throughout Central New York, leading the effort by her Rotary Club to provide every third grader in Baldwinsville with a dictionary each year, and Meg goes to each one of those classes to make that presentation personally. And whereas Meg has proven herself to be a champion baker, as evidenced by her annual first place awards earned at the New York State Fair, and by anybody who has sampled her wares. Whereas Meg remains a treasured member of our Ballsville community, I, Bruce W. Stebbins, Mayor of Ballsville, do hereby proclaim October 20th, 2024 as Meg Van Patten Day in Baldwinsville and encourage all citizens to express their congratulations and gratitude for her service and dedication to this community. Bruce Stebbins. I want to point out there is an open house at the library Sunday afternoon in which Meg will be there and will be thrilled to have anybody and everybody come by and say hi. And I'm going to give this to Mary Ann, who's going to make sure that it arrives at the library. Other than that, I'm going to stick to the agenda and move on to our attorney.
Just a comment for the board. The discussion about Micron and the committee. I was chairman of the Onondaga County Industrial Development Agency for many years, and during which time the Destiny USA project came into being, the original one. And at that time, I won't go through it all now, but I suggested they take some funding that was supposed to go to Destiny for some things and set it aside, and we formed something called the BMAX Committee, which is Benefits Maximization. So what we did was we looked, it started out with 7 members and ended up with about 75, to look at the possible benefits for the community that Destiny would bring. And we had subcommittees that, among other things, got into having education available for retail sales to get people out of districts that that could use those jobs. The DOT, all sorts of other things that we looked at. And the reason I bring that up is that in addition to the Route 31 issues, the question of Micron coming to the Baldwinsville area and the other areas along 31, there's other issues too, not detrimental issues like traffic and things, but positive issues. So perhaps the towns and the village could put together a group that would look into things like how do we make the Micron employees feel welcome in the Baldwinsville area? What can we do with our not-for-profits to maybe put some feelings out and maybe get some of the Micron executives to maybe work on some of our boards and things like that. Because one of the subcommittees I had was with not-for-profits. So I just throw that out because, of course, it turns out the original Destiny never came out to be what it was supposed to be with all the inside skiing and golf works and all that sort of thing. But what I found out though was that we had people from all over the county, including the sheriff's department, the supervisor in Salina, the Syracuse Chamber of Commerce, all working together to look to see how they could, the community itself would benefit from all of this and how the community could work with the developers of Destiny to make the community a happier place because of that, and also help out with the Destiny people itself. So I just throw that out there because that might be a way to look at forming some sort of group to make the make the Micron executives and employees coming in feel welcome, and also looking at how to integrate them better into the community and seeing if the community could do some things to help Micron other than just the traffic situation. So I just kind of threw that out there.
That's a great idea, Bob.
So other than that, we actually hired a consultant to come in and work with us. We met with the Syracuse board, and the county people. It was very interesting. So I just throw that out there. But other than that, I have I'll just stick with the agenda.
Moving on to our clerk.
I just want to remind the residents that we are in our last 2 weeks to pay village taxes. Just a reminder again, they are due by October 31st. If not, they will be turned over to the county. So I just want to remind everyone for that.
I just wanted to let everybody know that the Rescue Mission Meals are taking their orders for anyone that requires or would like a meal for Thanksgiving or Christmas this year. They did give us deadlines. For Thanksgiving, they're asking us to let them know by October 26th. For Christmas, they want to know by November 26th so they can be arranged and delivered to people as needed. Peace is also offered and is doing a harvest luncheon for the seniors on November 22nd, and they can sign up at the center with us. We were approached and we are being included in a Syracuse University photojournalism program called A Day in Baldwinsville. both Meals on Wheels and Canton Woods were asked to be part of this, so they're going to be coming in and taking pictures in the senior center and riding along with the drivers for Meals on Wheels, and in the Meals on Wheels kitchen. They did a bunch of photos and some interviews, so we should be looking forward to seeing that soon. We are having our second flu clinic on October 25th from 9 to 12. For anyone that would like to join us, they can stop down at the center and receive shots from Rite Aid. October 30th, we're going to be doing a Halloween party from 1 to 3, having music from our Beeville George Leha. Everyone is asked to come in costume and is welcome to join us. And then on November 5th, of course, is Election Day, so we're having only selective programming that day, but Meals on Wheels is going to be offering available breakfast and lunch from 7 to 3 that day. And other than that, I'll stick to the agenda.
And Renee's already trick-or-treating.
Have to bring the treats every now and then.
Okay, moving on to our DPW.
Real quick on the piggyback on your comment about the leaves. And the leaves sounds very trivial, but it gets to be a huge problem when they don't come down at the right times. And we've had a few years when the guys just get out and get going on and it snows. And then we get flooded with calls, what are we gonna do with the leaves? And what we've done in past years, and Mark will contest to that, is they get a lot of snow in the middle of it and then it dried up and they were able to get back out. You know, if they can get back out and continue on it, they will. But if it snows, they'll just do their best. Once the leaf starts, the highway's on it all week, you know, because they can't get through, because there's just so much they can't get through. And it looks like it could be an issue. If it is, the guys will work through it and they'll do the best they can. You know, if there's snow on the ground, the tractors and stuff don't work well on the snow, but they'll do what they can to get it up. Winter's approaching. I believe this week they got all the plants in, got all the hanging baskets down. They'll start taking the benches and the garbage cans up soon. Today I believe they got all the docks in. They got all the docks in today, Mark. Yeah, they got all the docks in today. The island, the bathroom's closed in the island, so that's closed for the season. We'll try to leave the other two bathrooms open as long as we can. The problem with that is, you know, if we close them, this week's supposed to be 70 degrees. The parks are full of people, so we try to leave those open as long as we can. Other than that, winter's coming. We have new superintendent's going to start Monday. We've been able to get most all of the winter stuff taken care of. I have the salts all ordered. I believe all the plow trucks are up and running. They've been serviced. They've got the sanders on them. They're ready to go. So when he gets here Monday morning, all the winter stuff, which sometimes is just a struggle to get it going because the guys are still out busy with summer stuff to get the winter stuff going, and it has to be, you know, once it snows, that's all they're gonna be doing. So we're ready with that, excited about the new guy coming in, and other than that, we'll stick to the agenda.
And you guys are installing new binoculars.
We are, I wasn't sure yet, we helped the Rotary with the binoculars that they're putting in, and they did a great job. We have a fence guy, which happens to be here, Mark Zach. Part of the challenge down there was the fence that's up there. I mean, when they donated, first of all, they're gonna donate one binocular, and then they donated a handicap one. Well, the handicap one you can't see because the fence there. So we went back and forth, and Mark came up with the idea, and he's a great fence guy. And they cut the fence down, he put a nice little fence in there, the highway poured a slab of concrete. When we first started doing it, we put two of the posts up, somebody ripped them down that night. So we got back in again and then poured a slab, and when they went down and drilled it, put it in the other day, took it back out. So the day of the showing, we're going to put it in before that, so it's there.
And that's next Tuesday.
Yeah, and this is a good little event they're going to have for that. It came out nice. I was worried about the fence because I believe those fences are outdated. We can't do a lot with them, but Mark did a great job of cutting them down and put the not barbed wire fence, but the chain fence out front. Yeah. And he put, I can put that on there. He put black fencing out there and it looks really nice. So
all blends in nice. So.
It does, yeah. So we'll be ready for that when that comes across to
So
us.
is the ribbon cutting I believe, at 4:30 that Tuesday, that anybody who's watching is more than welcome to stop down.
Yep.
And then look and see if there's any birds on the water or in the air.
It's amazing. I live down by there, and the people that you see out, just because there's the eagles and everything that's right there. There's always people with big long cameras up there from out of town, you know, and it's a good spot to watch that stuff.
And anyone who doesn't know, it's along the Sergeyevich Trail, which is the trail along the river behind the post office and the WT Brews and the laundromat.
Silver Fox.
With Silver Fox. Well, the laundromat too.
4:30. 4:30?
Okay, moving along to our police department.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Lockwood.
No, nothing to report. The pedestrian crossings, now obviously got brought up, but I know Trustee Fralou and the chief ended up meeting with the senator, especially about I believe the four corners that you guys talked about, the crossing and everything over there, correct?
Really all of it, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and so I know you guys brought up different things. We do have the state that's gonna be putting in the lighted crossings. We're still waiting on those. We're hopefully that they're gonna be in for this year. But before that, we've actually sat down and tried to come up with some ideas that we can come and put at either other locations that those lights aren't gonna go at, or that we might be able to do before the lights get installed. I'll also look into the fact of what you were looking at, either in New York City, I think you said they have them. But, and then see if we can reach out to the state and see if we can put those, especially at the four corners and different areas, like Mechanic Street or wherever else. And then I give my card, and I think that's a great idea, and I'm willing to work with you and look forward to it. All right?
And along those lines, I'm meeting with the former commissioner of New York State DOT tomorrow morning, who believes he might still have a little sway. So I have a list of things involving our state highways in Baldwinsville. And Sally left, and one of them is going to be the excessive number of signs along the state roads telling that are obstructing our sidewalks. You know, if you come along, there'll be 3 signs from Elizabeth Street to the stoplight telling you that there's an intersection from 31 and 370, and it's like, okay, maybe we only need one, but whatever. Moving on to pending business, item A is a motion approving the proposed local law, and I don't think any action is planned on this. Do we need another motion?
Yeah, we need a motion.
I'll make a motion to table that.
I'll clear it.
One of these days, we need to
Sit down and hash
Yeah,
that.
100%.
deal with it.
100%.
We've got some time.
Yeah. Item B, motion approving a proposed local law to change the
Do we need
zoning
to approve
district
it?
of property, pardon?
Did we approve that?
No. We tabled it. All in favor of tabling?
Aye.
Thank you.
Details.
Yeah. I thought we tabled, didn't have to vote that. No, I didn't.
think we got to vote to table yet.
Item B, motion approving a proposed local law to change the zoning district of property located at 48 Salinas Street from its current designation of R1 zoning district to the B1 business zoning district.
I'll make a motion to table that as well.
Second.
Discussion. Any questions for Ben, because I didn't let him leave?
If we table it versus voting against it, does that close the window on what the next options are as far as how we're going to define it?
No.
And so this being on the table, we can still look at
Yes,
other
now,
options.
if you have major amendments, so for example, if you then decide, let's suppose that you decide to create a recreation district or do something, if you have a major change to what's on the table, then you have to notice another hearing. So that, because what you would be voting on would be something that the people looking at the original notice would know nothing about. So, but other than that, you can do whatever you want.
No, and I'd like you, Bob, you can get with their attorney and talk it out and
Yes.
see what, what compromise we can
Yeah.
reach here that would
Yeah.
be good for the neighborhood, which I live in, and also what's good for the developer, which I do like this idea, so
Yep.
You know, I
And
think
Bob
it's
had also
Yeah.
talked about the PDD, but currently our law states a PDD has to be bigger than that
I
footprint.
mean, you could,
Oh.
but that was
gonna ask about
that's
that.
one of the village's laws. The village could possibly make it a PDD and in that local law, override the 1,500, or
The acreage.
10 acre, or 15 acre, I forget what it is. You could override that for this procedure only, so that's another thing.
Oh,
that could be done.
So that's another option that's being explored. All in favor of tabling?
Aye.
And hopefully we will be addressing it.
Yep.
Thank you. And once again, all in favor? Did we vote?
Yes.
Yes, we did. Sorry.
I don't listen to myself. Count on you folks. Item C, motion approving a proposed local law to change the provisions of Article 31 of the Code of the Village of Ballsville to modify the definition of unsafe buildings to include vacant or abandoned buildings which are not secure.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
There you go.
7, new business. A motion to appoint Bruce Stebbins as the delegate and Jody DePaulis as the alternate as representatives to the Greater Tompkins County Municipal Health Insurance Consortium Board of Directors.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion.
How was your trip to Ithaca?
Yeah.
Other than running the red light, it was fine.
I won't ask.
Not necessarily wanting to do it a lot.
Okay.
This is, Jody, can you tell us why we have to do this?
It's for their board of directors, it's for their annual meeting. They have to have a quorum each year. So this meeting comes up at the end of September each year. So we are required to have a delegate and an alternate for the board. And they are hoping in the future that these meetings can be by Zoom. Because it's so hard, they have so many members now for everybody to get down to Ithaca. But this is just one of the requirements. We will be having other motions for the consortium coming up in the near future. You know, as they come to me, I'll have to put them on the agenda. But this is just something going forward we'll have to do for the health insurance.
Good.
Well, thanks for all the work on this.
Yeah.
Seems like a good money-saving option.
Big help.
Let's hope so. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, carried. Item B, motion to create the position of DPW Deputy Superintendent.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
No, I think it's a
Yeah, it's gonna be
We
great.
have had
good
Sufficient
step in the
discussion.
right direction.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item C, motion to appoint Corey Perkins as the DPW Deputy Superintendent effective October 21st, 2024 at this says salary of $86,000. Did you want to do it at the hourly rate instead? Do you want the word salary out of there?
Well, that would be a salary, but yeah, it's like,
$34.41.
yes, that's what it was, yes,
It's that number divided by 2,080.
yeah.
I think we should do, the hourly rate. Unless if we're just doing the straight salary.
Yeah, 41.34 an hour.
41.35 if you round up.
Okay. You want it 41.34, 41.35?
It's 41.346.
Okay, that's what it
On the
is.
calculator.
So it's
When you do it on
35.
the other calculator, it comes out to 41.34.
Which calculator you want to use, 41.34 then?
Yeah, let's use
Okay.
41.34.
I'll make the motion to appoint Corey Perkins as DPW Deputy Superintendent effective October 21st at the hourly rate of 41.34.
Second.
Any further discussion?
We're not gonna give him the penny.
No.
It's $20.
When he goes into time and a half, got it.
Okay.
He owes me
I'll go see the
$20
clerk
anyway.
on this, yeah.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item D, could I have a motion to appoint James Miller as planning board member effective October 17th, 2024 at a salary of $50 a month.
Motion.
Term to expire April of 2025.
Motion.
Second.
We sure we don't want to make that $49.99?
Yeah.
Oh, don't you? Jody, what do you want?
It's $50.
Just, if you're looking at that.
I'm talking to Jody.
That's 12 cents a year. I did the math on my calculator.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you, James.
Thank you.
Item E, his first meeting's next Tuesday. Item E, motion to approve budget modifications as proposed in the document 2024-10-17 budget modifications for the 2024-2025 budget.
Move.
Second.
Everybody good with what they wrote there?
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. So any other business to bring before the board?
It's not business, but I would just like to recognize that tonight is Chuck's last official meeting, sitting in the chair as the superintendent, and just thank him again for all he's done over the last 30 years.
Will you be at the next meeting?
What's that?
Will you be at the next meeting? I hope not. Out there making citizens.
I'm very confident that.
Sit with Mark.
I'm very confident your pick that's coming in. I think he's going to do a great job and do whatever I can to make it easy for him.
Okay. My motion to pay bills is audited.
Motion.
Second. Oh, sorry.
We didn't need
Where
any.
you going?
All in favor?
Aye.
Bob, we didn't need an executive session on that. We talked it all out. Could I have a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting at 8:37?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Dave Thrasher was not here because he's at the Mets game.